You know that feeling when the air just crackles with anticipation?
Mm.
That's definitely the sound of the summer transfer window starting to creak open.
Yeah, you can almost hear it.
Welcome to the Deep Dive from EPLnews.org. We're the place where we sift through the football headlines so you don't have to.
That's the idea.
And remember, all the reports we're diving into today, you can read them in full over at EPLnews.org.
Good point.
So you sent us a really fascinating batch of reports this time. Lots of potential player moves, contract situations brewing across Europe.
Hmm.
Our mission really is to unpack all that, get beneath the headlines, and figure out what it might actually mean for the clubs, for the players involved.
Absolutely. And what really strikes me straight away is just the sheer, scope of potential change we're seeing talked about already.
Yeah.
It just highlights how fluid things are at the top level. Clubs always looking to evolve, find that edge.
Okay, well, let's dive straight into a name that's causing, well, a bit of a stir. Xavi Simons at RB Leipzig. Sky Sports Germany is suggesting he might be on the move this summer. And the reported price tag is around 70 million.
Wow, that's steep.
And Sportbild in Germany adds a bit more fuel, doesn't it? Mentioning Liverpool and Manchester United as being pretty keen.
Right.
He's under contract until 2027, so this isn't exactly straightforward, is it?
No, not at all.
What makes a player like Simons potentially worth that kind of money for, say, a Premier League giant?
Well, that 70 million pounds, it's not just about his current ability, is it? It's heavily weighted on his potential.
Right.
And, the premium English clubs often seem willing to pay for these young, dynamic, attacking players.
Sure.
If you look at Simons, he's incredibly versatile.
Mm-hmm.
Can play in multiple attacking roles, got a real eye for a pass, a goal. For Liverpool, maybe looking to evolve their attack a bit under the new manager, he could offer something different, a new dimension.
Okay.
And similarly, for Manchester United, where they've maybe struggled for that consistent creativity, his arrival could be a real injection of quality up front.
Yeah, I can see that.
The big question for both clubs, though, is do they see him as like a crucial piece to build around? Or is he more supplementary, even if he's an expensive option?
And for Simons himself.
Yeah, for him, it's about where he'll get the most game time, isn't it? And the best platform to keep developing. He's got talent, no doubt, but needs that stage.
That makes perfect sense. Okay, staying on Merseyside for a moment, it seems Liverpool aren't just looking outwards. Football Insider is telling us they're actually planning talks about the futures of three key players. Luis Diaz, Diogo Jota, and Ibrahima Konate.
Right, all important figures.
Yeah, exactly. They're all key players, maybe at slightly different points in their careers. Why start these talks now, do you think? What could this signal for each of them?
Initiating talks now, it suggests a pretty proactive approach, doesn't it? Squad management.
Yeah.
For guys like Diaz and Jota, established attackers, the club might be looking to lock them down long-term. New contracts, maybe.
Makes
It could also just be a way to, gauge their intentions, make sure everyone's aligned with where the club's heading.
Okay. And Kone, he's younger.
Yeah, with Konate, crucial defender, younger, it's likely about reinforcing how important he is.
Yeah.
Maybe tying him down longer to fend off any potential interest from elsewhere.
Right.
But, initiating talks doesn't always mean sunshine and roses, does it?
True.
It could also be a first step towards considering exits, if players want a new challenge or if the club sees a chance to reinvest somewhere else. It's about gathering info, planning strategically for the window.
A lot of pleats spinning at Anfield, it sounds like.
Definitely seems that way.
Okay, another Liverpool story, this one involving Mohamed Salah. ESPN highlighted comments from Saudi Arabia's Minister of Sport.
This again.
Yeah, saying Salah fits the identity of their league. But crucially, he also said very explicitly there were no discussions before Salah extended his Liverpool contract.
Right, that clarification is important.
So what's the underlying message here? Is this just sort of polite praise, or is there a longer game being played?
I think it's probably a bit of both, Publicly saying a player like Salah would be a good fit, well, that lines up perfectly with Saudi Arabia's ambition to boost their league's profile.
Yeah, clearly.
Even though no immediate move happened, it keeps that narrative alive, doesn't it? Subtly signals they're still aiming for top global talent.
Okay.
And for Liverpool. It's a reminder, isn't it, that there's serious external interest in their star man, even after he committed his near-term future.
Yeah.
It underlines the financial power of the Saudi league. That interest isn't just going to vanish. It adds, well, an interesting layer to any future talks with Salah. knowing those kinds of offers might be out there down the line.
A persistent undercurrent, for sure. Okay, let's shift gears. The Sun is reporting that Leeds United, obviously with their eyes on promotion.
Hopefully for them.
Right. They're considering a £10 million move for Wolves keeper Sam Johnstone. He's 32. If Leeds do get back to the Premier League, what kind of impact could a signing like Johnstone have? What does he bring?
Well, for a team stepping up, a reliable, experienced keeper can genuinely make a huge difference with points over a season.
Definitely.
And Johnstone, he's got proven Premier League experience, hasn't he? From West Brom, now Wolves. $10 million in the grand scheme of a Premier League budget could be seen as pretty sensible for someone who knows the league inside out.
Yeah, seems reasonable.
He's a good shot stopper, commands his box well, and that experience. It can bring a bit of calm to a defense that's likely going to be under more pressure in the top flight.
Makes sense.
It's all about building a solid foundation at the back, isn't it?
Yeah.
And a seasoned keeper like Johnstone, yeah, he can certainly help with that.
Solidifying the defense, classic move for a promoted club. Right, let's talk about a deal that's reportedly done and dusted now.
Oh.
Give Me Sport says Chelsea's obligation to buy Jadon Sancho from Manchester United, it's been triggered,
Oh.
happened after Chelsea's win against Fulham, which meant they finished above 15th. So Sancho's future is now Stamford Bridge. What does this immediate confirmation mean strategically for both clubs looking ahead?
Well, for Chelsea, it just brings clarity, doesn't it?
Yeah.
They can fully integrate him into their long-term plans now. After a season on loan, both the club and Sancho will have a much clearer idea of his role, how he fits, gives them continuity in attack.
Okay. And for United?
For Manchester United, it's definitively closing a chapter.
Right.
Look, the transfer didn't really work out as anyone hoped, did it?
Uh-huh.
But this frees up wages, gives them funds they can reinvest elsewhere, maybe areas their new structure has identified. It's a clean break, lets both clubs move on.
A clean slate for Sancho at Chelsea and a chance for United to reallocate.
Sportbild in Germany suggests Real Madrid have got their eye on Man City's midfield linchpin, Rodri.
Ooh, interesting. But unlikely, surely.
Well, yeah, the report does note it's highly unlikely. It says Rodri is settled, has no plans to leave City. Right. He seems pretty embedded there.
But even if it's a long shot, what does Real Madrid's interest in someone like Rodri tell us about their own midfield thinking, their future plans, and what makes him so indispensable for City?
Real Madrid's interest, even if it goes nowhere, it just underlines how crucial a world-class holding midfielder is for any top team.
Absolutely.
And Rodri, well, he's arguably established himself as the best in the world in that role, hasn't he?
Hard to argue with that.
His ability to break up play, dictate the tempo, shield the defense, it's invaluable for City. So for Real Madrid to target him, it suggests they're potentially looking for a long-term successor in that deep role, someone with similar control, tactical intelligence.
Yeah.
Maybe as Toni Kroos eventually steps back more.
Yeah, makes sense.
It just highlights the massive premium on players who can dominate the middle of the park, control the game's flow.
He's certainly the engine room for City. Okay, switching leagues again. Tutta Mercato Web in Italy reports Fiorentina striker Moise Kean has a $45 million release clause, becomes active just for the first half of July. Interestingly, though, despite links elsewhere, he might actually lean towards staying at Fiorentina. Why? To boost his chances for Italy's 2026 World Cup squad.
Ah, the World Cup factor.
Yeah, how significant do you think that ambition is for players when they're making club decisions?
Oh, it can be massive.
Yeah.
Especially for players maybe on the fringes of their national team or trying to cement their place. Playing at a World Cup, that's a huge motivator. Staying somewhere you're guaranteed regular games, playing well, that significantly boosts your visibility, your chances of getting picked.
Yeah, stands to reason.
So in Keane's case, if he feels settled at Fiorentina, believes performing consistently there will catch the national coach's eye, well, then prioritizing that over a potentially riskier move where game time might be less certain. That makes a lot of strategic sense leading up to a World Cup.
It really highlights how international ambitions can sometimes steer club careers, doesn't it? Okay, back to the Premier League. Football Insider reports Everton are set to let English center-back Michael Keane leave when his contract's up at the end of June.
Free agent then.
Exactly. He's 32. What kind of clubs might look at a player with Keane's Premier League experience, available for free, and think, yeah, that's an appealing option?
Well, a seasoned Premier League defender like Kean, no transfer fee. That could definitely attract a few types of clubs.
Okay, cool.
Newly promoted teams, maybe? Looking for that top-flight experience to strengthen their defense without breaking the bank.
Good.
And also, maybe some established Premier League sides could see him as valuable squad depth. Someone reliable, provides cover, leadership at the back, without that big transfer outlay. His experience, knowing the league, those are real assets.
Could be a shrewd piece of business for the right club, potentially.
Definitely. Low risk, potentially decent reward.
Okay, finally, let's head back to Spain. Marca suggests Barcelona's sporting director, Deco, has indicated their Polish keeper, Wojciech Szczesny, will sign a new one-year deal. Stay at the club.
Okay, keeping the experienced head.
Yeah, he's 35, still their established number one. What does this likely signal about Barca's immediate plans and goal, and maybe their broader strategy?
It probably indicates stability is the priority in that key position for at least one more season.
Right.
Szczesny clearly has the trust there. Extending his deals suggests they're confident he can maintain his level despite his age. It might also imply, they see other areas of the squad needing more immediate investment or attention in the next window or two. So they opt for a familiar, reliable presence and goal rather than spending big on a new number one right now.
Makes sense. Stick with what you know works there.
Pretty much.
So, wow, we've covered a lot of ground. Potential big moves like Xavi Simons to England, Liverpool's internal contract talks, the ever-present Saudi interest in Salah.
Always lingering.
Leeds looking at goalkeepers, Chelsea making the Sancho deal permanent, Real Madrid maybe window shopping for Rodri.
Even if it's just window shopping.
Right. The World Cup influencing Kean himself leaving Everton, and Barca keeping faith with Szczesny. It's a real snapshot of the transfer landscape heating up, isn't it?
It absolutely is. And it's so important to remember, these are the whispers, the reports we're hearing now.
Yeah.
The reality of the transfer window. It can be wildly unpredictable. Deals collapse, new targets pop up out of nowhere.
Absolutely. Things change fast, which is why, for the very latest on all these developing stories, and plenty more besides, you should definitely visit us over at eplnews.org.
Couldn't agree more. And, for you, our listener, all this potential movement, it raises some really interesting questions, doesn't it?
Like what?
Well, which of these potential transfers do you think would cause the biggest ripple effect across European football next season? And why? What does this whole flurry of reports tell you about the strategic thinking of these big clubs right now?
Definitely food for thought as we wait for that window to officially swing open.